What if everything you know about civilization began long before the first city, long before the first king, and even before the first written word? History often celebrates mighty empires, legendary rulers, and breathtaking monuments. We admire the pyramids of Egypt, the temples of Greece, and the walls of Babylon. Yet none of these achievements appeared overnight. Long before humanity learned to build in stone, forge metal, or write its own history, our ancestors faced a world that seemed determined to erase them. Imagine standing on a vast African plain nearly 300,000 years ago. The sun slowly disappears beyond the horizon. The comforting warmth of daylight fades into darkness. Strange sounds echo across the landscape. In the distance, predators begin to move. Lions, hyenas, and giant cats are no longer resting. They are hunting. You are not the strongest creature here. You are not the fastest. Your teeth cannot tear through thick hides, and your hands carry no natural weapons. Compared to the animals around you, survival seems almost impossible. Yet against every expectation, one fragile species would eventually reshape the entire planet. That species was us. Today, humanity dominates every continent. We build cities visible from space. We travel beneath the oceans and beyond Earth's atmosphere. We split atoms, decode genomes, and communicate instantly across the globe. But every extraordinary achievement can be traced back to a series of remarkable decisions made by people who had no idea they were changing history forever. The story of civilization did not begin with kings or kingdoms. It began with curiosity. More than 4.5 billion years ago, there were no forests, no oceans filled with life, and certainly no humans. Earth was a newborn world born from violence. Rivers of molten rock covered its surface. Volcanoes erupted with unimaginable force. Asteroids struck the planet again and again, each collision releasing enough energy to reshape continents before they even existed. The sky looked nothing like the blue horizon we know today. Thick clouds of volcanic gases blocked sunlight for long periods. The atmosphere contained almost no oxygen. Breathing here would have been impossible for modern life. As millions of years passed, the planet slowly cooled. Water vapor condensed into endless storms. Rain fell not for days or months, but for thousands of years. Those relentless rains gradually filled enormous basins, creating the first oceans. Within these silent waters, something extraordinary happened. Tiny microscopic organisms appeared. They possessed no eyes, no brains, no bones, no voices, yet they carried within them the single greatest miracle known to science: life. They were simple beyond imagination, but they had one remarkable ability. They could reproduce, they could adapt. One molecule at a time, they released oxygen into the atmosphere. At first, this oxygen was poisonous to many of the earliest forms of life. Entire ecosystems disappeared. Others adapted. Eventually, the seas filled with extraordinary creatures unlike anything alive today. Then, around 540 million years ago, evolution accelerated dramatically. Scientists call this event the Cambrian explosion. Within a relatively short period of geological time, an astonishing variety of complex animals appeared. Predators, prey, eyes, skeletons, limbs. Nature was becoming increasingly sophisticated. Survival demanded innovation. Life slowly spread across the continents. The first plants transformed barren landscapes into green worlds. Insects followed, then amphibians. Later came reptiles. Earth was changing again. Forests stretched across enormous distances. Gigantic creatures dominated rivers and swamps. Eventually, dinosaurs emerged. For more than 160 million years, they ruled nearly every corner of the planet. Some were as small as modern birds. Others weighed more than 70 tons. They evolved into hunters, scavengers, grazers, and giants, unlike anything the modern world has ever seen. Around 66 million years ago, a massive asteroid struck Earth near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact unleashed unimaginable destruction. Wildfires spread across continents. Gigantic tsunamis crossed entire oceans. The age of dinosaurs ended. But every ending creates an opportunity for another beginning. Among the survivors were small mammals. For millions of years, they had lived in the shadows of giants. Now, the world belonged to them. One particular group would eventually give rise to primates. These early primates developed remarkable vision, flexible hands, curious minds. Instead of relying only on strength, they relied on observation. Instead of reacting instinctively, they began solving problems. Climate shifted once again. Dense forests slowly gave way to expanding savannas across eastern Africa. A few began spending more time on the ground. Standing upright allowed these early ancestors to see farther across the grasslands. Most importantly, it freed their hands. Hands that had once been used mainly for climbing now carried food, protected young, and eventually held tools. Without realizing it, evolution had taken one of its most important steps towards civilization. The journey was only beginning. To us, they might seem insignificant, but to our ancestors, they represented something extraordinary. Knowledge had become a survival tool. Unlike strength, knowledge could be shared. One individual made a discovery. The entire group benefited. This was humanity's greatest advantage. Not intelligence alone, but collective intelligence. Generation after generation, ideas accumulated. No other species had ever achieved anything quite like it. Each generation inherited the discoveries of the one before it. Cooperation. Unlike many predators that hunted alone, humans learned that working together multiplied their chances of survival. One person could distract prey, another could prepare an ambush. This ability to cooperate on a large scale became one of humanity's defining traits. Communication became increasingly important. Gestures evolved into more complex signals. Language allowed knowledge to travel faster than experience. Stories could preserve information long after those who first lived them were gone. For the first time, memory became larger than a single lifetime. Culture is more than music, art, or tradition. It is shared knowledge, shared beliefs, shared identity. Long before the first kingdoms existed, humanity had already begun building invisible civilizations inside the human mind. The foundation of civilization was not built with stone. It was built with ideas. For tens of thousands of years, humans wandered across continents in search of survival. And eventually, they left Africa. Without knowing it, they were beginning one of the greatest migrations in history. The world was waiting. Every direction offered uncertainty. Every path carried risk. Many journeys ended in failure. Others survived, adapting to climates their ancestors had never experienced. There is no perfect environment, only the ability to adapt. When the weather grew colder, they crafted warmer clothing. When prey changed, they developed new hunting strategies. For thousands of years, humans shared the planet with another intelligent species, the Neanderthals, powerfully built and perfectly adapted to the cold. Today, archaeological discoveries reveal a far more complex picture. Part of them lives within us. They are not entirely gone. The agricultural revolution. No one knows who planted the first seed intentionally. But that unknown individual changed the future more profoundly than almost any emperor who would come after. What if nature could be guided instead of followed? For the first time in human history, people began staying in one place. Everything changed. Communities grew larger. Knowledge accumulated faster. People had time to build stronger shelters. They cared for animals instead of simply hunting them. The relationship between humans and nature had entered a completely new chapter. Thousands of years later, those first farming villages would become towns. Towns would become cities. Cities would become kingdoms. Kingdoms would become empires. Writing would preserve ideas. Laws would organize societies. The story of civilization had truly begun. The history of civilization is, above all, the history of human curiosity. Every modern city, every scientific discovery can trace its origins back to those distant ancestors who refused to stop learning. That quiet determination became humanity's greatest legacy, and it still defines us today. In the next episode, we travel to a lonely hill in southeastern Anatolia, a place older than Stonehenge, older than the pyramids. Its name is Göbekli Tepe, and its secrets remained buried for more than 11,000 years, until now.